Inflation that hits Argentina dragged the poor to struggle with the rising costs of living. In an impoverished neighborhood in the heart of Buenos Aires, women and children queuing for food aid.
Though a $160 grant is aimed at helping the unemployed and low-income earners cope with inflation, but that is not adequate for daily living costs. Thousands of people rely on soup kitchens to complement their income as the country experiences one of the highest inflation rates in the world. A soup kitchen in Fraga, one of the many shanty towns in Buenos Aires, serves food for 993 children and has a waiting list of over 200 people. The national government provides the rations and a poverty-level salary for its workers, who will also benefit from the bonus. According to official data from the second half of 2021, poverty in Argentina affects 37.3% of its 45 million population. An International Monetary Fund report sees growing risk to global financial stability, with central banks challenged by trying to tame high inflation while also fostering continued economic recovery after the COVID-19 pandemic.
The report, which is called the Global Financial Stability Report, suggests the global financial system has been hit by a pair of shocks. First, rising interest rates tied to the tightening cycle of monetary policy around the world. And second, the war in Ukraine, which is driving up food and commodity prices. The report warns there is the possibility of a sharp decline in asset price if the war in Ukraine escalates, combined with increasing sanctions, along with vulnerabilities that have built up during the pandemic. As for the United States, Adrian describes the monetary policy of the Federal Reserve as, quote, appropriate, end quote, and says he does not see a recession over the horizon for the U.S.
Shocks or further adverse shock system has been stress tested with two shocks. The first is a sharp increase in interest rates related to the tightening cycle of monetary policy around the world. The second is the adverse shock from the war in Ukraine, which has pushed prices and food prices up and has adversely impacted supply chains further. For now, the global financial system this year has been able to absorb both of these shocks, but there are many risks and vulnerabilities going forward. We view this stance of monetary policy by the Federal Reserve as appropriate, and in our baseline forecast, we do have a softening of economic activity, which is the intended outcome of tighter monetary policy. But at the moment, we don't forecast a recession.